Yeah, right, I'm your boyfriend, George Stroumboulopoulos. What an honor to be with you tonight. The great Chris Nyland is in the red chair today. That's going to be fun. There's so much to talk about with Chris on the program tonight. Even if you're not a big hockey fan, you got to sit around and watch that chat because Chris has experienced so much in his life. Not just going through the ups and the downs, hoisting a Stanley Cup and falling to the floor, dealing with addiction in the most serious way, but how about Whitey Bulger putting a gun in your lap and giving you dating advice? That's the kind of stuff that's part of Chris Nyland's story. We're going to get into all of that tonight, so that'll be on the show. And if I can start by saying, happy birthday, Jimmy Page. If it wasn't for... If it wasn't for Jimmy Page, I would never know the warm embrace of the devil's music. So much love to Jimmy, 70 years old. Coming up next Friday, by the way, January 17th, we're going to look back and treat you to a 2010 conversation I had with Jimmy's former wingman, Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, going to be here. And this Sunday on the Strombo show, we're going to honor Led Zeppelin as well, Sunday night at 8 p.m. on CBC Radio 2. It's been a tough winter, no doubt, but we do get a bit of a gift tonight, depending on the weather conditions and where you are. You might get to see the Northern Lights. So just pop outside, warm up, wear something. But as the polar vortex moves, we get the Northern Lights, and with that comes rain. Mild weather and rain, no longer known as the polar vortex. We just call that system the sucky crap tex, okay? If you go to Strombo.com, you're going to see a compilation of amazing Northern Lights clips. Shall we deal with the day? This is Chief Wahoo of the Cleveland Indians. On the surface and deep below, one of the most racist logos in all of professional sports. Chief Wahoo has spent 74 years in the esteemed position of uncomfortable representation. But guess what? Just like the great Scorpion said, winds of change, my friends, sweeping off of Lake Erie. And it looks like the Cleveland Indians will be phasing out the Chief Wahoo super uncomfortable red face on their uniform. Well, kind of. They're phasing it out on the road uniforms. They're keeping the logo on the home uniforms. That's like your mother saying to you, listen, when you go to your neighbor's house, you don't let them know what we really act like in this house, okay? But still, change is often incremental, and that's important. Washington Football Club, Edmonton Football Club, you guys are next. Okay, speaking of progress, or as they say, progress, Colorado. Very conservative state, but of course much of the conservatism is real conservatism, which is that it is libertarianism, right? Things like, why would we allow state prohibition on something we like guns or pot? And as you know, of course, it's legal. 55% of voters in the state recently passed that ballot initiative to make it legal. Meanwhile, in Canada, we don't have across-the-board legal recreational weed, but we do have Vancouver, so that counts. Here is the practical consumer effect of this one. You know when you go to a restaurant and there's a wine pairing menu? Hey, if you're going to get the fish, I suggest you get this. Hey, if you're going to get the beef, I suggest you get this. Hey, if you're going to hang out with that guy, you should order 4, that kind of thing. Well, to celebrate legalization, there's a restaurant, a sushi joint in Colorado that has a weed pairing menu. This is fantastic. Look at this. Hey, you're going to have the Pakalu shrimp? May I recommend the Pakistan Kush? Forget the 2001 Merlot. Hey, you want to have the Polka Don? You're going to love the Purple Rain. That's an actual... By the way, may I recommend the Purple Rain if you're going to watch the Northern Lights tonight. So... Oh, but there's more. Depending on your vintage, you learned a lot about Canada from those National Film Board Heritage Moments. Remember those Heritage Moments? And that's how we learned about what was actually going on in the country. I mean, other people read books, but screw those elitists. We relied on television to teach us what was going on, see how our nation was being built. Well, we haven't seen much, but guess what? There are more coming. Yeah, there were some to honor the bicentennial of the War of 1812, a great victory that we live to congratulate ourselves over, even though actually, and I'll say this the last time, it was a tie. It was a tie, but it had been 7 years before that. It's a long time. Well, our friends at Historica Canada are back. This Saturday, coming up, January 11th, will be Sir John A. Macdonald's birthday, and it's a big birthday, okay? Because if you look at him, you go, he doesn't look a day over 172 years old. But I believe he's going to be 199, and it's Saturday night, and we always got to honor 99 on Saturday night. So anyone, the way they want to honor this event is by showing these new Heritage Minutes. We got a sneak peek for you. This is real. Here's a sneak peek of what you're going to see on Saturday.
Careful, careful. That champagne cost a fortune. Mr. Macdonald, do you plan to bribe the entire delegation?
Our methods may differ, Mr. Brown, but our objective is the same.
My objective, sir, is honest talk.
And mine is to win.
On July 1st, 1867, Sir John A. Macdonald became Canada's first Prime Minister.
We can't show you the rest of it because it gets super wild. It almost becomes like a Silvio Berlusconi party. It's little known fact about us. We joke about Sir Johnny, but he was a great, great man. There aren't many cats like him running politics anymore. You ever wonder what the Heritage Minutes are going to look like 40 years from now?
On my advice, the Governor-General has agreed to prorogue Parliament.
Though controversial at the time, Prime Minister Stephen Harper's courageous prorogation of Parliament would later save Canada from foreign invasion, natural disaster, and a 1,000-year reign of Satan.
Oh, there's more. Oh, there's more.
Happily married, I've got more than enough to eat at home.
And while his policies seemed unorthodox at the time, Toronto Mayor Rob Ford is credited with solving world hunger.
I have a feeling they're just going to skip the last decade of Canadian politics when they get back to the Heritage Moments. Finally, your long wait is over. The cultural event of the millennium is on. And no, it's not just that Arcade Fire are playing at Coachella again this year. No, the real one is on Broadway. They're making a Tupac musical. It's called Holler If You Hear Me. And it's going to start June 19th at the Palace Theater in New York. I think previews are going to start on May the 26th. Apparently the show is, according to them, a tale of friendship, family, revenge, change, and hope, which is also the logline for Duck Dynasty's musical. This has an $8 million budget. That's about $3+ million more than the average musical, and about $20 million less than the average budget for a rap video. It probably will be the first musical not to be huge with old white people, because honestly, huge old white people singing the N-word every second word at a Tupac musical, totally not cool. It is not going to be cool at all. But don't worry. So while the Tupac musical is opening up, old white people need a place to go. They've got the Michael Bolton musical. It's called When a Man Loves a Woman's Hairstyle. It's based on his early work, clearly. That's your debrief.